Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go get that claimed, smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's your Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Happy 2023. And we want to continue in this episode our conversation, part 2, of how to get off to a great start in 2023. Let's go back a quick recap. Episode 1, which was last week, we talked about the importance of having a strategic plan. You must know what you want to accomplish, not just this year, but the next decade. You have to have intentionality if you're going to pursue greatness as a financial advisor. So in this episode, what we're going to talk about is the single most important tactical key to being great and consistent each and every business day. And what am I talking about? It's going to be your morning success ritual / power hour / what we like to call in our Magellan Morning 8. Here's an absolute truth. If you cannot control the first hour of your day, you will not control your day. Period. Now, when I make that statement, some of you already you're pushing back. Well, Joe, I've got little kids, or I'm not a morning person, or whatever. I understand that. But let me say this too. You can modify it. There's always a way to get an hour before your business day really starts to do several things to prep yourself, or like Tony Robbins says, prime yourself to be excellent that day. So let's talk about it, because to me, that's a precursor. All right. So when I'm doing my personal clients, what we do when we do our agenda builders, first thing we say is, what is the status of your morning success ritual / power hour / Magellan Morning 8? Because I know that if an advisor is solid in the morning, they're going to be solid throughout the day. They're going to be solid throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the quarter, so on and so on and so on. So if you think about it, you look at success as a pyramid, right? At the bottom part of that, so the bottom is the plan, right? Hey, what's the goal? What's the intentionality? We talked about that last week. Well, the next, I guess you want to call it story or rung, if you will, is how do you start your day? What most advisors do, most humans do, is they start their day and they reach for their mobile device, and which I'm okay with if you're doing our Magellan Network program, if you're part of Platinum, if you're doing some motivational watching or listening or some spiritual stuff or some meditation. Hey, please, reach for the phone or your mobile device. Totally fine with that. But here's the sad reality. Most of you reach for your phone. Where's your first stop? It's going to be one or two places. is going to be either your inbox or it's going to be your newsfeed. Both are terrible ideas. Why? The second you open up your email or go to the news, you have basically taken your mindset and you have ceded control of it to third parties. Who's ever in your inbox, whatever is going on in the world today, anyway, it's not going to shape you to be excellent. Now, I know you need to look at those, so I'm not saying don't do it, but there's a place to do it, right? Success has a syntax. Morning rituals have a syntax. Bottom line. And so what we're going to look at going forward is basically this. What we need to do is take the first hour of the day and do a couple of different things. And by the way, there's no real order to them. We just find that, in our work, what we have found is these are the things that need to be placed. So first off, I don't really have a magical hour that, oh man, you must be up at 5 a.m. local or 6 a.m. local or a member of the 4:30 club or anything like that. You just have to be up early enough that you can give yourself an hour. Now, if you have small children, you may have to break this up into maybe 20 minutes here, get the kids off to school, then 40 minutes on the backside. That's fine. Here's the rule. The morning ritual must be done before you start your business day. So what does that mean? For some of you, it might be when I hit the office. For some of you, maybe when I go in my home office, right? For some of you, maybe when I hit the car. I don't know when you consider your day to start, your biz day. But before we get into inboxes and voicemails and text messages and the news and all the stuff that kind of run our world, you need that hour. And again, I could be taking one block or you chunk it up, but these things must be done before you get into that stuff, all right? And I know what some of you are sitting there saying, yeah, Joe, but I need to know what's in my inbox. I said, I know you do, but you're going to get to that. Just not first thing, all right? It'll be there. And I'm going to walk you through mine. So I get up between 5 and 5:30 every day, all right? And the last thing I do is grab my mobile device. I don't check my inbox. I don't check the news. I don't check anything. What I do, the first thing, when I'm conscious, the first thing I do, I visualize. And what I'm visualizing, and I'm still in bed, by the way. So here's the interesting part. I'm not saying you have to jump up and do, 10 burpees or anything like that. But the first thing I do, I get conscious. I say, I lay there. I go through a visualization process, and it has two pieces. It has a very strategic one, like my 10-year idea, my 10-year vision, my ideal life and lifestyle, my bucket list. I think about that. I think about my successes in the past, right? I come from a place of gratitude, right? I come from a place of seeing what I've gained so far, right? So and that's like a minute or two. You're not sitting there like, running movies in your mind for 10 minutes, okay? It's like a minute or two, so no big deal. The second thing I do is I go ahead and I ask myself a series of questions. I do what we call questions, declarations, and statements. So like, for example, what are some of the questions? Hey, what must I do to be successful today? Why am I already successful? So one of the key things, and this is a little sidebar for a second. Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. A lot of you don't consider yourself successful because you've not checked some certain boxes. And while I understand that, I'm telling you, you're doing yourself a massive disservice. Because what you're really saying to yourself is you're not good enough, you're not successful enough, and then you're beating yourself up. So the first question is, what must I do to have a successful day? The second thing is, why am I already successful? Right? Third thing I ask, who do I love? Who loves me? Right? Fourth thing, what am I going to do that's going to be uncomfortable today? All of us have to do, look, if you're going to elevate and grow, you're going to be uncomfortable. You have to do uncomfortable things. For some of you, maybe like exercise. All of us need to have uncomfortable conversations from time to time, and that happens. So we need to do that. There's always things that you have to, and the more you can challenge your uncomfortable muscle, the more you can do that, the more power you have to go ahead and grow. because you're building more resources, right? So we do that. What am I going to do to grow my business today? What am I going to do to grow my business today? Okay. What am I going to do to have impact today with my clients? Those are just some questions, right, that I ask myself every morning. And then, declarations and statements are just like, almost like incantations. Be great today, be uncomfortable today, live an excellent life, honor your higher power, whatever it is that's going to make it. So again, I got visualization, I got what we call our chat, right? What's that? How long is that? That's another minute or two, 4 minutes, right? Again, I'm giving no order here on things, okay? So I'm still in bed doing all this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to meditate. Now, some people tell you can't meditate laying down. For me, I can do it. For those of you watching, I'll do it in that chair sometimes. Sometimes I'll do it outside by my pool. Sometimes I'll do it, in a chair by the bed. Doesn't matter to me, all right? But I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to be silent. Now, you can meditate, you can pray, whatever you want to do with that 5 minutes. You're just going to center yourself, right? That's what it's all about. So again, 5. So now I'm up to maybe 10 minutes, okay? From there. The other thing we want to do is we want to journal. So some of you freak out, like, oh man, journaling, that's so hard to do. Journaling, because your brain goes to, well, I got to get a journal, and I got to write, and I can't read my writing, and what do I write, and stuff like that. And it's way too complicated. What I do is I go on, this is just me, I go on let's call it 45-minute to an hour walk and talk every morning. And I have my mobile device, and I use Evernote. It's a great tool, by the way. And sometimes I will thumb as I walk, as long as I don't want to kill myself. Other times I will sit and dictate an audio note into my journal notebook, right? It doesn't matter how you do it. Some of you can use, hey, send Siri, send me a message. And you can just dictate into Siri a text message, and you can get it and cut and paste it. There's a lot of ways to make that happen. But again, we're priming ourselves to be excellent, right? So all this is happening. The other thing we're looking to do is to do one act of gratitude. So this is really key. And again, people struggle with this, which I find kind of strange, quite frankly. What you want to do is, again, so who's on the list? It could be a family member, a team member, a client, a prospect, a COI, a colleague, whatever. What I tend to do, quite frankly, again, if I'm walking and talking with my mobile device, is I'm going to go through my contacts. I'm going to pick somebody at random, like, oh, I've talked to this person a while, and I'm just going to open up a text message, and I'm gonna just, hey, hey, I'm walking and talking right now. I was thinking about you on my walk. Hope everything's going well. I'm very grateful for our friendship. I'm very grateful for the trust you put in me and my team. Whatever it happens to be, a couple sentences, no big deal, right? And you're gonna drop some positive vibes on somebody. Here's the beauty of that. You're gonna get some positive vibes back. So, and by the way, when you're in a state of gratitude, studies have shown it's almost impossible to be negative. It's almost impossible to be in a depressed state, because you're just practicing gratitude. So the more gratitude you practice, especially in the morning, the more it's going to frame your mindset. So we want to go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, what else do we need to do in our morning? We need to get ready. So there's 2 parts of getting ready. This is when you may be up and moving around a little bit, and maybe a home office, or I tend to, quite frankly, sit on the couch right there with actually, I have my rig here, but I tend to have a MacBook. And what I'll do, who am I speaking to today? What's going on? What's in my inbox? What's my daily game plan look like? I'll review my quarterly game plans. I'll take a look at everything that I'm doing. We've got certain tools inside of Magellan Network to get everybody organized and a process. And we just kind of get grounded. Hey, what am I going to accomplish today? Because if you go into your inbox, see, I do all that first, then I'm in the inbox. Because if you go into your inbox first, that is going to dictate your day. And now you're on somebody else's game plan, not yours, right? And so you've got to have intentionality. We're going to talk about daily game plans next week. That'll be kind of our third episode. But you've got to control your morning. And if you don't have control over the first hour of the day, what makes you think you're going to control anything? When I look at differentials, there's very few leading indicators in success in our business. Very few. Okay. Designations are not a leading indicator. Education is not a leading indicator. How many hours you spend in the office is not, or quote unquote in the business is not an indicator. If you have a game plan and you control the first hour of your day, those are 2 massive leading indicators of success. So what I want you to focus on this week with intentionality is how am I spending the first hour every day? What time am I waking up? What are my current habits? Do my current habits serve me? Do they add to my success? Do they rob from my success? What am I going to do to replace them? And again, I'm not talking about eliminating anything. I'm not saying, oh, you're never going to look at the news or you're never going to look at email. No, I'm just saying do them we're thinking about an hour here, okay? What else do we do? I think 5 minutes minimum of exercise. I do a walk and talk, right? So I do some a little bit more, but 5 minutes of take your dog for a walk. Pop on a tread. Take the clothes off the Peloton that you bought during the pandemic. Get on it, right, for 5 minutes. And it's not going to make you healthy, no, but it gets the blood going, gets oxygen going, gets your brain going, and it puts you in a bit different frame of mind, right? So we want to do that. You got to just control the first hour. I mean, so that's what I really want you to work on this week before we talk about the daily game plan next week, is how am I spending my first hour of the day? What am I doing? How are things happening? All the above, right? So just make sure you're focused on that. Have a great rest of your week. Go back if you missed episode number 1. It's here on our YouTube channel or in our podcast channel network here. Go find it. And thank you again for watching this episode of the Magellan Network Show. And again, remember, MagellanNetwork.net. We have all of our resources available to you there. And have a great week. And I'll see you for episode number 3, where we're really going to unpack how to have a better day. What are some strategies, some tips, some tools to really control your day, be hyper productive, which is at the end of the day, if you're hyper productive every day, the rest of it takes care of itself, right? So be great this week. See you all in our next episode. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game, both personally and professionally.